I've known Jared Decker for several years. I don't know how far back we go in our younger careers, but Jared and I guess we weren't related in our education pedigree, but we were neighbors. Jared got his PhD with Jerry Taylor at the University of Missouri, and I got my PhD with Mike Smith, literally right across the hallway from him, so we would bump into each other walking in and out of the doors. Dr. Decker originated from New Mexico, comes from a small farm in New Mexico, moved to Missouri to get his PhD, and he did postdoc there too, didn't you, with Dr. Taylor? And I was on faculty there, beef extension specialist. He also writes the blog, The Stake in Genomics, which is an excellent resource. I would highly recommend you all check it out. And Dr. Decker is going to share with us how to take this technology home and use it in the real world to make improvements in what you see. So thanks, Chair.
So, can you hear me okay? So hopefully I'm preaching to the choir today, and as I talk to you, I'll give you some sound bites and ideas to share with your commercial customers and other seed stock producers you work with to encourage the adoption of all of the technologies that we've talked about today and just technology in general. So I wanted to have this a little bit of a conversation. So one of the first questions I wanted to hear about from you all are what are your commercial customers' values and what are your values as farmers and ranchers? And I'm patient, I'll wait for answers.
We don't have any values.
Values as far as technology, you mean, or?
No, just what motivates you as a farmer and rancher? What are your ethics? What are things that you value in your day-to-day life? Profit?
Well, that's what it is. It's profit. You know,
Okay.
We got to be profit driven. We've got to make our customers profitable in a way that they get paid for it.
Okay.
Our independence to help us. We don't want to be controlled by government or a big company.
Great.
Family, probably number one in our operation would be family.
Family? Any other?
High value in our deal is the way it makes us feel when customers are satisfied. The appreciation from customers is a priceless thing that is worth a lot.
Friends.
Yep.
Friends? Great. So one of the things that I think, I appreciate all of those answers. One of the ideas that came to my mind, and one of the things that I think is commonly seen in the beef industry, is we value tradition, right? This is my grandfather in this, so don't throw the tomatoes at me for having a Hereford up here on the slides. I wish I had a picture of my favorite steer. His name was Fido. He was named Fido because he followed me around like a dog, and he was a black, blaze-faced, Simmental-looking steer. So I've always had a sweet spot in my heart for Simmentals. But this is my grandfather, and here he is at a Colorado bull sale. And this bull here sold for $1,000. He had another bull in that sale that sold for about $2,700. And so one time I figured out what that would be in today's purchasing power, and that would be about $20,000 in that ballpark. So he was quite successful at what he did. And I think about him often, and hope that I am making him proud in the way that I am living my life and working as a scientist and an educator. But in the beef industry, we do value those traditions. I'm going to make the argument to you all that science and technology has been a tradition in the U.S. since its inception. So we have Benjamin Franklin here, who investigated electricity, developed the lightning rod technology. Monty, earlier today, showed the picture of the Wright brothers. I remember one of the favorite books I read as a kid was the biography about the Wright brothers and their journey to developing the airplane. So another instance where we really value that science and that technology. Earlier we've had pictures about putting a man on the moon. You know, if we think back to the Cold War, the Russians were really ahead of us in the space race, and we decided we needed to get our act together, and we did, and we beat them to the moon. So science and technology has always been a tradition of the United States of America. In fact, I even argue that it's one of the things that made America great. One of the things that made America a leader in terms of a world power was the way in which we grabbed onto science and technology. You know, another person I think of is Eli Whitney with the cotton gin or some of those other things. But one of the things I'm concerned about is, as a nation, as citizens, do we still value science and technology in this same way today? You know, I think there are some headlines in the news that can really make you question whether we do value science and technology that same way. You know, we hear concerns about vaccines, and those concerns about vaccines have been proven to be wrong, and people still ignore the science and the evidence. You know, GMOs have been proven to be safe, and irrationally, we still have people who are against them. So National Geographic and others have kind of talked about this war on science. You know, I'm a little bit concerned about this in the beef industry as well. You know, when we look at things, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but we've had technologies that have been around for 40 years. The other meat industries, pork, poultry, others that we compete against, man, they've adopted and grabbed onto genetic prediction. And I think there's still a lot of beef producers who ignore that technology, if not outright just disbelieve it.